So it looks like Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles. And I was watching that game too in real time. Like he went back to pass and he started to run and he crumbled and he just grabbed his leg. And this that Achilles thing, that's a monster. Like Aaron Rodgers went down last year with his Achilles. I remember KD, he was playing basketball in the NBA. He went down. And the infamous one is Kobe Bryant. It's like Kobe, he went down, he grabbed his leg, he went back to the bench. And then when you're injured like that and you can't come back, the opposing team can choose someone and then they shoot those free throws because Kobe had gotten fouled. And Kobe was like, nah. Kobe got back, limped to the free throw line, sank 2 free throws, went to the tunnel, and then subsequently had Achilles surgery. I miss Kobe Bean Bryant so much. He was so tough. But yeah, for the Deshaun, if it is his Achilles, it's season ending, and I'm not quite certain that it might be career ending. Like he'll be back, right? Because Aaron Rodgers came back. But the difference is Aaron Rodgers is more of a pocket passer than Deshaun. Like Aaron Rodgers will look in the pocket, and if he doesn't see anything, he'll run. But if he has to. And the best thing about Aaron has always been like in the pocket, like his feet work in the pocket, in the box. He dances in the box like no one else I see. His feet work is so great. But now he's come back and it's a new normal. Like whatever push off he had on his foot, it was like he was the fastest guy, but now he's almost like, oh, I can't really run like I used to. And for a guy like Deshaun, even though he also looked for the pass, he runs. Like if he doesn't see anything, he runs. Man, if that was part of your game, is running as part of your game, and you got an Achilles injury, he was already having a hard time now this season out trying to outrun dudes. So if you got an Achilles, the thing about the Achilles, it's stiff. It's a stiffer thing. Like it's easier. I hate to say this, but it's easier to tear your ACL than it is to rupture your Achilles. With your ACL, you can tear it, they can repair it, and you might be better than ever. Like Nick Chubb, who plays for the Browns, I think he tore his in college, and he came into the league, and he's been great, right? Frank Gore played for the U many moons ago. He completely tore his knee. I think he did in a bowl game, and then he got drafted in the middle rounds. Man, Frank Gore ended up playing like 20 some odd years. He was almost indestructible after that knee surgery. So it's easier to come back from an ACL, and it actually makes you a little bit stronger than from a ruptured Achilles. So it made me start thinking, like, what's the Browns going to do? Like, they still got 2 years left on the Deshaun Watson deal. And I wonder, it's like, man, maybe they could pull a Bobby Bonilla. So if you don't know, Bobby Bonilla was a great baseball player who played for the Pittsburgh Pirates with Barry Bonds, coached by Jim Leland. Andy Van Slyke was on that team. And that team should have won a World Series. They were great. But Pittsburgh couldn't afford Barry and Bobby. So Barry would later go off to the San Francisco Giants, and Bobby would go to the New York Mets. Now, the Mets was having some type of money issues back then. So when he signed that deal, they deferred part of his salary. So in 2011, I think he signed that deal in 99. So what happened was in 2011, he was guaranteed to get paid $1 million, like a little bit over $1 million for the amount of the contract. Well, the funny thing is, in that contract, there was like a interest rate on there for some reason. I don't know why he did that. Shout out to his agent. So because of that interest rate, the contract is actually bigger now than it was when he first signed it. So from 2011 to 2035, Bobby Bonilla on July 1st every year will get a little bit over $1 million. I think Brett Saber, those other guys who signed deals was kind of like Brett Saberhagen back in the day. But even in modern times, like Ohtani, when he signed a $700 million deal with the Dodgers this year, he has a deferment. So he's taking less salary now to make more money later. So what's going to happen with him is, I think in 2034. In 2034, his deferment kicks in. He's going to be making $2 million a year until like 2043, and then they'll still owe him like $68 million after that. So whatever that number is, like Ohtani will be making money way into the 2050s. I will really look like Morgan Freeman by the time that contract is over. Hell, I like Morgan Freeman now. Oh my God. And I think with the Dodgers, I think Mookie Betts has a deal that's deferred. And I think Freeman. I think he also has a deferment with the Dodgers too. It makes sense. Like you can't pay all these guys all at once, so it makes sense to pay these guys lesser now and owe them later. Because by the time those contracts kicked in, someone else will own the Dodgers. So it makes a lot of sense. But the thing is, I always wondered why they didn't have this thing in the NFL and the NBA. Like, but I feel like it has happened in those leagues. Listen, if you are a capologist or you're a person who understands salary, and there's been someone in the NFL and the NBA that's had a similar deal where they've had deferred payments, let me know, because it seems like the only people I can think of are baseball people. So when it comes to the Browns, I wonder if Andrew Berry, the GM, and his capologist can go to the NFL to do this, because I'm not sure, because I don't think this has happened before. We've had players in the past who deferred, but it was always in the years of that contract. Like I remember Troy Aikman used to restructure his contract all the time. So I always felt like he had his money deferred, but I guess he didn't. So I don't know. So personally, it would be great if the Player Association and the NFL would say okay for the Browns to do that to Deshaun's contract. If not, then the Browns should just write out the next 2 years. Pay Deshaun whatever's left on that contract, draft the guy in the 2025 draft. Because to be honest, I don't even want them to try to make a push for the playoffs. They're in the AFC North. They were in there with Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. That's tough. So even if, let's say they get on a roll and they make the playoffs, but then you have to play Kansas City down the road, and that's tough. Like, I just think the Browns got a lot of holes. Like this year coming up in the draft, they have all their picks. So the Texan deal that they had with Deshaun, that's over. So they got all their picks back. So right now they're either first and second in the draft because they're so bad. They might be first right now. I think they have 2 third-round picks. That might change if they make another trade. And they got 4 sixth-round picks. So I just rather have them draft a guy, play poorly, have a horrible record, draft a guy next year, and then just move on. And even if Deshaun comes back, he's not going to be the same guy. And they'll play whoever rookie that is, or they'll just play whoever else, and whenever rookies look ready, they'll play the rookie. But that's what I would do if I was them. Now, if they want to make a push for the playoffs, see, this is the thing. I don't think they can find another Flacco. Flacco was just sitting at home chilling. He was still working out. But who else is out there that has a Super Bowl connected to their name? And in fact, well, Flacco's with the Colts, right? So Anthony Richardson is the starter. He got hurt. Flacco came in, putting up 300 yards. Anthony Richardson came back, played horrible. So the Colts is in a position where the future is Anthony Richardson, for good or bad. And Flacco is just a short-term solution. So do you put Flacco back in and try to go for the playoffs? Or can Flacco be a trade piece? Because if the Browns are like, man, we want to try to make it for the playoffs, would you trade for Flacco? Because like I said, they have 4 6th-round picks. I think if I'm trying to go to the playoffs, if I'm the Browns, I would trade a 6th-round pick to the Colts. And I think the Colts would take it. I would, if I'm the Colts, get another 6th-round pick and make it conditional. If he plays great, then they can move up to a 5th. But I really just want them to lose. So if you're a capologist or understand salary caps, tell me what you think about the Brown situation with Deshaun's contract. Should they just keep on, paying him the next 2 years? Should they do this crazy Bobby Bonilla idea that I had? If they cut him, that's a lot of cap ramifications. Or maybe just because he is injured, maybe they can petition to the NFL. It's like, hey man, this guy's injured. We got this contract. Can you do something to help us get out of this contract? Like what things can the Browns do to kind of get themselves out of this situation? It's hard being a Browns fan right now. I did not expect this season. I knew when they didn't resign Flacco that Deshaun had to play the best he can. And they changed the system to fit him more, but Deshaun's been horrible. And you got to think, he wasn't this, yeah, he might have been a horrible guy with the Texans, but he wasn't as a player. He was great. So I don't even know, like Shannon Sharp on Nightcap said he thinks a couple weeks ago, he said, I think he's injured. It may be, I don't know, but man. Whew. And also, if you ever had an injury, Achilles injury, how was it for you? Like, was it painful? How was your mobility after that? I might not be a doctor, but if you experienced it, tell me what happened.